Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Before I get started today, I have a bit of a confession to make here, and it's going to involve a little bit of a change to the way you might be seeing some stuff here while we do saves and loads. In the last episode, I saved a file right here in this slot, and then I began recording the next one, which is the video that I'm making right now. But unfortunately, I got to the point where I made enough mistakes in the trial that I had to do save scumming, basically. And whenever I loaded my file that I had saved over the previous one, which is what you're seeing here, the game crashed, and my video got, like, super corrupted. So, I learned my lesson not to make the classic blunder of having only one save file. So instead, what I've done is I've replayed episode 5 up to that point, since I kind of had to start over from the beginning. And from this point onward, whenever we make a save, I'm just going to make a new file, just so we don't have to worry about that. And I'll just cycle through, what is it, 5? Oh no, there's 10. Okay, 10 files. We'll cycle through 10 files. Sound good? Alright, let's get started. So, in today's episode, we are about to go into the first day of the trial, which is day 2 overall for this story, defending Lana Skye, who is the chief prosecutor for the district. And the case is really strange. So there's a guy named Bruce Goodman, who was a detective who got killed, and Lana Skye apparently stabbed him in the back of Edgeworth's car in the prosecutor's parking lot. We have a witness named Angel Starr, who claims that she saw Lana stab Bruce Goodman at that location with the knife, which is apparently Edgeworth's knife. And it's not looking good. But what's even more troubling, arguably, is that Lana doesn't really seem very interested in us defending her. And that's a little odd. So let's go ahead and get started today, and we'll see how we do in court. We got an autopsy record and a few pieces of evidence going on here for us, so hopefully we can make something out of that. How did the investigation go yesterday, Mr. Wright? Frankly, there are still a lot of gray areas. Or rather, the whole thing is one big gray area. Don't worry about me, no matter what the outcome. I'm ready to accept my fate. I believe in you, sis. Mr. Wright, let me offer you a word of advice. Yes? A defense attorney should never believe their client. The defendant is called to trial because they are suspected of wrongdoing. Never forget that. Miss Skye, you remind me a lot of Mia. But there is one decisive difference between you and her, and that is, you're not a defense attorney. Yeah, Lana is very much the antithesis of Mia with the whole don't believe your client thing, because that was very much Mia's primary, what's the word? Like the premise that she worked from was that, you know, you want to believe your clients so that you can find them innocent, you know, and find the holes to poke and whatnot. So, I think Lana is really sincere when she says that. I don't think she's trying to wink, wink, nudge, nudge us with, hey, you know, don't believe me, and because I'm not telling you everything or whatever. She has been really cagey, and that's kind of a little odd. I believe it's almost time for the trial. Good luck, Mr. Wright. My first trial without a Fae helping me. No one's going to bail me out this time. I'll be alone in there. So I have to discover the truth all by myself. Alright. Let's do it, Mr. Wright. I'll be with you the whole way. Alright. We'll see how Emma does. We haven't really worked with her very much, unlike Maya. Ooh, courtroom number 9. We have not been in a number that high up to this point.
court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor.
Edgeworth. It's been 2 months, but I haven't been in a courtroom since his trial. I hope that personal feelings will not be a part of the proceedings today, Mr. Wright. I will choose the path I think is right, regardless of what those around me might say. The judgment to be made here is in our hands, not those of anyone else.
Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. Your opening statement, please.
Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye has committed an unpardonable crime. Not only this, but she was rash enough to commit it in the prosecutor's office lot. Wow, he's much more forceful in person. I suddenly feel like confessing to everything. However, she will now pay for her rashness with her life. There was a witness to her crime. A professional witness.
Well then, call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth.
The prosecution calls its first witness, Miss Angel Starr, to the stand. The cough-up queen? Yeah, we didn't exactly get, like, all the info on her.
Haven't I seen you somewhere?
You ordered the caviar lunch, right?
Ho, caviar! I've never eaten caviar before.
The judge is really wolfing it down. I wish we could actually see that. Ah, and for you, I have a Fiesta Bowl. Thanks. Will the witness state her name and profession? Ah, and you, sir. Did you order the fingerprint lunchbox? It is too early for lunch. Your name and profession, please. Well, Your Honor, how does it taste?
So this is why everyone raves about caviar. It's so tasty, it hurts.
I feel like this is bribery.
I always thought caviar would taste like pickled tapioca.
What the heck does pickled tapioca taste like? I really don't want to know the answer to that. Name, profession, now. Me? The name is Angel Starr. Don't go forgetting it. I find myself running Lunchland these days. Is that what you wanted me to say, Mr. Edgeworth? Very well, witness. Please describe the incident to us.
The prosecution will wait. I'm not finished eating.
Hurry it up.
Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. As you know, we usually call on the police to provide a description of the crime.
Your Honor, as Mr. Edgeworth has said to the court, I am a professional.
What? What exactly does that mean?
Until 2 years ago, Miss Angel Starr was a special investigator with the police. Okay, I don't know if they had explicitly come out and said that before, but that would explain a lot, the whole professional thing, for one. And also why she knows so many people down there anyway. She was a first-rate homicide detective.
What?
Miss Starr was a detective? Yeah, normally we have Gumshoe as the first witness, but as we had established in yesterday's investigation, he's been basically taken off the investigation for this case and kind of thrown to the sideline for some reason. So, supposedly we're going to have Angel Starr testify. I guess she's qualified.
Aha! I know who you are. Cough up?
Cough up Queen Angel Starr, Your Honor. Long time no see.
Very well. You may continue with the description, Miss Starr.
The judge seems rather nervous. Just who is this lady? If I might have the court's attention over here. The parking lot at the prosecutor's office is divided into 2 blocks. A block is for the prosecutor's office personnel. B block is for visitors and clients. A chain divider separates the 2 blocks.
I suppose that's to keep visitors from taking up prosecutor's spaces, yes?
The crime took place by a car in the back of A block, in the car's trunk. The killer stabbed the victim with this knife and went to drive the body out. Okay. Unfortunately for her, there was a witness, and an arrest was made on the spot.
And who was this valiant witness?
Why, it was me, Your Honor. Parking lot floor plans added to the court record. The parking lot with Edgeworth's car. Alright.
Witness, did you see the very moment of the crime?
Of course, Your Honor. Immediately after that, I apprehended the chief prosecutor.
It seems rather cut and dry, doesn't it? Well, Mr. Wright?
I can't agree on principle, Your Honor. It seems that some poor losers are unwilling to accept the truth, Your Honor. Shall I proceed to crush what little hope they have remaining?
If you can, then give them your worst, Miss Starr.
Wait, are they talking about me? Yeah, Phoenix, I think they're talking about you. Witness's account. Somehow, I always knew a day like this would come. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend, when I sensed something. Perhaps it was my finely honed detective's intuition at work. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Then she thrust the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest.
Bringing a lunchbox to your boyfriend? How touching.
As you can see, there is no room for doubt.
The key point of your testimony seems to be nothing other than the point of the knife which you saw being stabbed into Detective Goodman.
Ba-dum-tss. So, how does it feel to be so utterly crushed? I'm still thinking about that. It's merely a flesh wound, Mr. Wright.
Very well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
'Tis but a scratch. Alright, so the thing that was giving me trouble with this the previous time I had tried recording was that you have to press not only certain statements in this, but you also have to press in a particular order. And if you go out of order, then you have to basically go back to the ones that you had already pressed, press them again after you pressed the prerequisite ones, which is really awkward. So I'm just going to go press every single one of them. I think if you go in order and not skip around like I sometimes do, you're fine on this. It's just a little strange. How did you know? I respect the prosecutor's basic abhorrence of crime, yet their methods are ugly and twisted. Twisted methods will always lead to tragedy. The lunch lady's uninformed opinion is duly noted. Given that they are used to erasing inconvenient evidence at their whim, killing off a detective that knew too much is merely an extension of that. Miss Starr, do you have something personal against prosecutors? I felt that I had found my dream job when I became an investigator, and if I hadn't been laid off by those prosecutors over there, I'd still be one. I think she does have something personal against prosecutors, if that's what's driving this. Laid off? She was fired. To me, prosecutors are nothing more than worms. That said, I am a pro, as you know. My testimony is unbiased and flawless. I don't know about unbiased. I think we've just established that it is quite the opposite.
Very well. You may continue, Miss Starr.
Alright, so let's ask about this. This boyfriend, he's the detective? Not that boyfriend, the security guard.
That boyfriend? You have several?
Yes, this boyfriend, that boyfriend, and the other boyfriend. Care to join? The yet another boyfriend position is still open for applicants.
I'll stick with the lunches, thanks.
Note to self, the judge had to think before replying. Was she seriously asking the judge that? That's kind of messed up. The security guard room is in the lot, in A block. It's up on the second level, so you can see everything from there. That would be the room with the security sign in all caps. Incidentally, did you bring your lunchboxes by car? Since I'm a visitor now, I parked in B block. So, she was in B block when she witnessed the crime. When I sensed something, perhaps it was my final... Oh, we already read that. You sensed something? So you're saying you had a premonition of the murder? It felt like, how would you say... Oh yes, it was like the feeling you get when you view a pumpkin chock full of seeds.
I have no idea what that means.
Me neither. Speaking of a detective's intuition, wasn't the victim Mr. Bruce Goodman also a detective? Yes, well, he was like a young cheese.
Young cheese?
A pale white cheese, not yet tangy with experience on the streets. A greenhorn.
Then I must be hard, yellowed, and sharp as a tack.
Yeah, with the odor of an old cheese to match. I agree with Emma on that. In any case, there in the lot, I felt something stirring in the back of my mind. Okay, let's ask about this. By garish car, you mean... Mr. Edgeworth's car, yes.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth?
Incidentally, the knife with which the victim was stabbed was also Mr. Edgeworth's. Wasn't it? Indeed it was.
What an odd case this is. And the person you saw, you are sure it was the defendant?
I saw her from no further than 30 feet away. I am certain it was her. If she's telling the truth, we're doomed. Let's just do what we can. Even if we don't have any proof, we can always nitpick. Witness, in your testimony, you clearly stated the following. Prosecutors are nothing more than worms. Ergo, you are a biased witness. So yeah, this is the part where you had to press statement 1, and I think 2 before you pressed 4. And if you tried to press 4 first, then this latter part won't happen. You might want to keep those silly opinions to yourself in the future, rookie. Huh? Rookie? Unless you're willing to risk the consequences of doubting me. I'll fry you like a fritter. Crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside.
That was inspiring.
I believe I've heard that tagline elsewhere. You could cry plagiarism? I may be relegated to the lowly post of lunch lady, but my instincts are honed.
A photograph? You took this?
The moment I witnessed the crime, my reflexes took over and snap! I took a picture. In fact, one of my lunchboxes is rigged with a camera. I suppose that's more exciting than just hanging it around your neck. Witness, why am I only seeing this photograph just now? You think I'd show it to you, a prosecutor? Think again. My boyfriend works in the photography division of criminal affairs.
Wow, this is most certainly the defendant.
Crime photo added to the court record. Uh-oh, that is unmistakably Lana Skye. So, what was the defendant doing at the time? Alright, let me look at the photo here. She's not holding a knife there in her right hand, so I'm not sure if we're supposed to... present that here, but I'm going to try it. Yes! Okay, good. And you witnessed this? You saw Miss Skye stab the victim with the knife? As I've already said, yes. I swear it on my finest salmon swirl lunch.
I'm sure that is a fine lunch.
But isn't that odd? Look at this photograph. This is the photograph you took of the very moment of the crime, is it not? Then why is Miss Skye not holding a knife?
Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts?
Objection. That had to be the weakest objection ever, Edgeworth. Yet, it was still stronger than your ever-feeble mind, Mr. Wright.
What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
This photograph was not taken the moment before the stabbing. This was taken the moment after the stabbing. And how can you tell that? Blood splatter. Huh? See the dark crimson stains on the chief prosecutor's coat? But it's a black and white photograph.
Ah, yes, it's hard to tell, but this could be blood.
Well, Mr. Wright, I see no problem here. No problem, except you. Mr. Wright, are you going to just sit there and take that kind of abuse? Arg, got a better idea? Let's yell objection! Wait, that contradicts what the witness said in her testimony. Namely, that she took the picture the moment she witnessed the crime. Well, it seems I was slightly unclear. My apologies. That's it? If you run out of lunch, you order seconds. Problem solved. If you don't like it, try ordering the jumbo-sized lunch from the get-go. Good advice. I'm not sure I understand it, but good advice. Yeah, I don't understand it either, or how it relates to this. I didn't have time to stop her. Prosecutor Skye was cold, calculating, like a robot. She killed without pain or remorse. It was a premeditated murder. Premeditated? How do you know? Look at the chief prosecutor's hands in that photograph.
Wow! Are those gloves?
Surgical gloves made of thin rubber, most likely. Why would she have those on? If it was not premeditated, she would not be wearing those gloves.
Warg! Those gloves do seem to tell a tale of premeditation.
Premeditated murder, a serious offense.
Witness, add this to your testimony.
The murder was planned. The rubber gloves prove it. It's only a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. We can make it. You said that before. Anything else? Scientifically speaking, Miss Starr's testimony is flawless. Sounds pretty fatal to me. What do we do? Is this it? Is my sister guilty? Let's just keep our heads cool and press the witness a bit, shall we? For some reason, having her panicking next to me makes me calmer. But don't smile like that. Okay, so it loops back around at this point. So obviously we need to do something... Oh, whoops. I guess some of the statements got deleted there, now that it's been revised. Okay. So I think what you're supposed to figure out here... It's been a week since I tried recording that video, by the way, so I tried to put some distance between that and tonight just to try to forget some of it. But what I want to say you're supposed to present here is the knife, because the knife is Edgeworth's, and it specifically mentions that it was in his toolbox, which is in his trunk. So, unless Edgeworth is involved with this, and he was a part of this as an accomplice, I don't really believe that there's any way Lana could have known that he would have been there, and that knife would have been there. So, I'm gonna go and present this. Okay, good. Witness, do you know what this is? Are you trying to test me? I sell box lunches for a living, you know. That's a knife. The knife. The knife that was in Mr. Edgeworth's trunk. Indeed, it is my knife. Every time he mentions that, it's, there's always all this murmuring. What's with this case? The bloody murder weapon, a red car, all belonging to the prosecutor there. The defendant is the chief prosecutor for the district, right? Mommy, are prosecutors bad people? I like how they called out that he has a red car, like that makes it worse somehow. The defense has a request. We ask that the witness provide an accurate testimony. What's that, rookie? In your testimony, you stated that Lana Skye planned this murder, and that's why she was wearing those special gloves.
Seems like a natural conclusion to me. The gloves do indicate planning.
However, why would she not also prepare the most important thing? The murder weapon! Oh. This knife just happened to be in the trunk of that car. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to plan a murder, You don't forget the weapon!
Ugh! Warg! Order! Order! Order!
Great, now the tide is turning in our favor. Great show, Mr. Wright. My sister's as good as free. Yeah, I don't think that's quite the case yet. Uh-oh. Right. I believe the next lunch you'll be eating is humble pie. What? I hope you weren't deluding yourself into thinking that the tide has turned. Well, we might have been. Not over such a trifling detail. But this shoots a hole in the whole premeditated theory. Bah! The prosecution could care less if it was premeditated or not. I think it's couldn't care less, but... The only one who seems to care is that lunch lady over there. Yeah, why is she getting nervous if, that's not an important detail? The defendant, Lana Skye, murdered a detective with a knife. That is the only thing the prosecution need prove. Nothing else. Very good, Mr. Prosecutor. I suppose you think you're clever now. But you know as well as I do that she planned on killing him. It was planned. If it wasn't, why would she have been wearing...
I believe I'd like to hear your testimony again.
Witness, please tell us only what you saw, not what you thought. How dare you? My powers of deduction are not to be underestimated. Really now. Angel's deduction. Okay. Lana Skye intended to murder Detective Goodman. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor had held a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge the knife in again and again.
The victim was summoned from the police department to the prosecutor's office. It does sound a lot like premeditation, doesn't it?
So if I ordered a pizza, does that mean I'm planning to kill the delivery boy? I don't think that it works that way.
In any case, the defense may now cross-examine the witness.
Okay, I think I know what it is we need to present or contradict here. And it's the final statement. Oh. Whoops. I didn't realize it was that short. Yeah, okay, so this statement here. The autopsy report indicates that there was a single wound, so let's present this. You say she stabbed him again and again, but you couldn't have witnessed that. Are you testing me? Then I'll test you. With my moss surprise. I'm afraid the moss is growing under her feet as we wait, Miss Starr.
What do you mean?
I shouldn't have had to explain this, but take a look. The autopsy report states that death was due to a loss of blood from one stab wound.
Aha! You're right! Good show, Mr. Edgeworth!
What a hunk! He's my hero, really. Oh yeah, Emma's a Edgeworth fangirl. What about my objection? No one noticed?
Well, witness?
You got the crime scene set, right?
Oh, thanks.
I always believed that no one could ever mistake ketchup for blood, but now I realize that such mistakes are possible. So, you're saying you mistook something for blood? When she lifted her knife, I thought I saw blood at her breast. Splattered blood from her victim. That's why I thought she must have stabbed him at least twice.
Then tell us what you saw that you thought was blood. Testify.
Her red muffler looked like blood to me. That's how ghastly the whole scene was. Okay, I think this photo... Yeah, she's not wearing the red scarf muffler thing here. Let's present that. Oops, didn't mean to go back. Miss Starr, I demand an explanation. The witness is clearly not suited for detective work. Well, what? The suspect was not wearing a scarf or muffler of any kind when she stabbed the victim. And you've proved it yourself with this photograph. Huh? But that can't be. Only a professional lunch lady could be so utterly clueless. Congratulations. Perhaps you finally found your true calling in life.
Harsh words, but good.
In the end, Mr. Edgeworth prevails. What was my objection? Chopped liver? But it was there, a scarf. No, not that, but something red. Really. Well now, where were we? The witness has given us an entertaining interlude, but back to business. What?
Very well, witness. Continue your testimony. You saw the crime and apprehended the suspect. Tell us about that.
Very well. I do remember some things accurately, at least. Ultimately, we couldn't shake the most important part of her testimony. The most important part? Wait, how are you hearing our thoughts? The part where your sister stabs the victim. This next testimony might just be the moment of truth. Let's hope so. Apprehending the suspect. After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. Ah yes, when I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Starr, resistance is futile.
You are quite determined about this scarf, aren't you?
I strike like a snake and bite like a cobra. That's me, Angel Starr. Isn't a cobra a snake? That wasn't a very good metaphor. First of all, a cobra is a kind of snake. Exactly. Don't bother me with details unless you want to get bitten. No thanks. Note to self, Mr. Wright is weak against poisonous snake bites. I think that goes for almost every human being. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. An oil drum? Hard to imagine. Oh, she's beautiful, but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rawr!
Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you will.
Okay. I'm not sure exactly what we're supposed to do here, so I'm just going to press everything. So where is this partition on the floor plans? I'm sure she meant this wall next to the car. That's right. Yeah, we did see that, although it wasn't exactly very three-dimensional from our point of view. There was a wall there, about 6 feet high. She was obviously trying to hide herself. Quite a natural thing for a criminal to do. And what did you do then? Whoops. So my question is, how did Angel get from the B block to the A block? You say quickly. Were you close to the suspect? As I just said, I was only 30 feet away from her the whole time. Yeah, but there's a fence there. Did you climb it? Maybe I should press her for more details? Yes. Oh, it's on the bottom this time. Usually it's on the top. I'd like to see this on the floor plans just to be safe. The Lunchland car was... She was a visitor, thus she was parked in B block. So, you witnessed the murder from here? So wait, how could you have witnessed the murder from there when she was like back here and the whole car is in the way?
That would make it about 30 feet from the car, yes.
Is that correct, Miss Starr? Yes, that's right.
But there was a chain link fence in front of you.
There's also the car in front, too. I went over it, of course.
Amazing! The cough-up queen, lunch lady athlete indeed.
Okay, so she did go over the fence. Would have taken her a little time to climb over the fence, so she couldn't have gone to my sister that fast. Yeah, that fence was about 9 feet high, too. So how did Miss Sky not get away? She mentioned the muffler. What exactly did she say? If I remembered exactly, I would have told you in my testimony. Was she very muffled about it? cheeky. Anyway, all I heard her say was the word muffler.
Just that one word?
So, what you heard wasn't the suspect talking to you, but to someone else? Yes, the chief prosecutor was talking on her phone. Her phone? She can't mean... Alright. We should ask further about this, because we were noticing yesterday that she did make an outbound call to Emma at one point. By phone, do you mean this cell phone discovered at the crime scene? Yes, ultimately. Ultimately? My memory... It's like a salmon heading upstream, you see.
No, the court doesn't see, Miss Starr.
The chief prosecutor first attempted to use the phone hanging on the wall.
On the wall?
That's right. Near the car, there was an emergency phone on the wall. Apparently, it was out of order.
And so she used her cell phone?
Indeed, the emergency phone was out of order that day.
Good witnessing, witness.
Good witnessing? Whatever happened to good testifying? Yeah, tell me about it.
You should, of course, add this to your testimony.
The things I do to please this rookie defense attorney. Alright, Lana's cell phone. The word muffler was overheard during a call made to Emma at 5:18. I saw it all, how she tried the phone on her wall but had to use her cell instead. Let's press that previous statement. Do you think you could restate your testimony for the court?
Aha! I was going to ask the same thing.
I'll only say this one time, so listen close, rookies. Rookies, plural? The chief prosecutor stabbed the victim and ran behind the partition. Then she picked up the emergency phone on the wall, but it was out of order. So she pulled her own cell phone out of her pocket.
And during that time, you climbed over the chain link fence?
Then, when I boldly grabbed her arm, the chief prosecutor hung up her phone. And you saw her doing this? What is it, Mr. Wright? Oh, I think I know what he's suspecting here. But I'm going to press this anyway. She made to escape. Can you be more specific? She brushed aside my hand and ran. It was a terrible sight to see, like a dollop of lard on a pâté of foie gras. Huh? She even kicked over an oil drum at me. An oil drum?
There was an oil drum lying on its side at the scene of the crime.
But it's strange.
Why is that?
If she wanted to escape, why didn't she run the other way?
The parking lot entrance.
That's right. It doesn't make any sense that she would run from behind the partition to the oil drums. Excellent. More mysteries. I wish we could solve a few before finding more, though. So Miss Sky tried to run. I'm sorry my sister is so suspicious, Mr. Wright. Not as sorry as I am. But she didn't do it. You have to believe me. Okay. Okay, so I think what you have to do here is... So, because the thing I noticed, and I think what they're hinting at, is that this... the parking lot floor plans are basically saying that if Angel's over here and Lana's over here, then she can't see her using the phone or anything with the partition in the way. So I'm going to present this. Yeah! Miss Starr, I have to conclude that you have a personal grudge against Miss Lana Sky. The witness is a former detective. Her testimony is unmarred by personal bias. I don't think that just because you're a detective that you are automatically exempt from being biased. Well, who would have thought you would be my knight in shining armor, prosecutor? You, who together with the chief prosecutor, kicked me out 2 years ago. Well, Miss Starr, this is a fatal contradiction with your testimony. How do you explain this? I don't know what you're talking about. Mess with me, and I'll make you cough it all up. No thanks. Let's look at the floor plans. You said you witnessed the crime from this point. However, if that's true, you couldn't possibly have seen Miss Sky making that phone call. I believe you see what I'm getting at. That emergency phone was on the backside of this partition. If indeed you were in B block, you couldn't have seen it.
Order! Order! What is the meaning of this?
It's simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch, she's coughing up lies. That's quite a claim, Mr. Wright. Perhaps you will allow me a question? Tell us exactly what lie this witness has told the court. Here's where the counterattack begins. I can't afford to get this wrong. The witness lied about where she saw it. Miss Sky tried to use the emergency phone, but it was out of order. What is significant about this fact? Nothing. Therefore, it would be pointless for Miss Starr to lie about it.
Pointless to lie? I see.
But say the witness did actually see Miss Sky using the emergency phone. It would mean Miss Starr witnessed the crime from a different location. A different location? Now that's a pointless lie if I ever heard one. Before you call my lie pointless, at least let me tell it.
Let me ask a question to our clever wordsmith, Mr. Wright. Just where was the witness when she saw the crime?
All the testimony we've heard until now points in one direction. The place from where Miss Starr witnessed the crime was here. So I think the only thing that makes sense would be the security room, because from there you could see both the telephone and to the car. Unless they're suggesting it was out here, but I don't think that would be the case. That does kind of make me wonder, though, about the picture, because how would she be taking the picture from this way? Unless Lana went back to the car later. This is the only place where she could have been.
The security guard room?
Indeed, the security room in the underground parking lot is well positioned. It's built on the second floor, so you can see the entire lot.
She would have been able to see the emergency phone from there. But why there? There are many other places where she could have seen the phone.
Not in this case, Your Honor. The witness, not being part of the prosecutor's office, couldn't park in A block. The only place where she could have seen the crime and the back of the partition is here. Okay, so they're basically saying that she couldn't have just stood over here, I guess, because she was not parked there. I feel like that's a bit of a leap, but okay. I remember in your testimony you said you brought a lunch to your boyfriend in the security guard room, yes? Well, Miss Starr? How many years have I been getting the better of men? To think that the tables could be turned. Today a man has got the better of Angel Starr.
Order! Order! Witness! What have you done? You used to be a detective. You should know better.
I'm not turning back. The guilty will be punished, and I'll do what I must to make sure justice prevails. The guilty? Is she talking about Miss Sky? Mr. Wright, doesn't this strike you as odd? Why did Miss Starr lie? It doesn't make sense. Huh? She could have just said she saw the crime for the security guard station. Yeah, that's a good point. What reason would there be to lie about that? It wouldn't change anything. Exactly. This photograph tells all. It was the defendant who stabbed the victim. You know, we still don't know how she could have gotten over there to B block. That truth still stands. I mean, the only thing that comes to mind is that maybe she took the photograph after she left the security guard station and went back to her car in B block, and maybe Lana was still standing around for some reason. It still stands? I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth. What? If a witness is found to be lying, they're guilty of perjury. She knows this. She wouldn't risk that without a good reason.
So tell us what her reason was, Mr. Wright.
Huh? Me?
Who else?
Mr. Wright, let's review what we know. Ms. Starr witnessed the crime from the security guard station, but she lied and said she saw it from B Block. It must make a vital difference, but what? What would change? Angle of view to the crime might seem important, but I think it's distance to the crime, since the fence is in the way in B Block, and the security guard station's on a different floor, even if it's technically, you know, the same amount of feet. So I'm going to say this. It changes the distance between her and the scene of the crime. My condolences, Mr. Wright, but one look at the floor plans and it's quite clear. The distance between the scene of the crime and the guard station is 30 feet. I don't see how that would change what she could see. What she saw is not in question here. What matters is the time it would take her to reach the scene of the crime. There we go, yeah. It's not the distance, it's the time. Miss Starr, you witnessed the crime from the security guard station. Now, how long did it take you to go from there to the scene of the crime where you arrested Miss Skye?
Well, witness?
You. Yes? You ordered the squid wheels, right? The quality of my lunches has gone from low to inedible. I was bringing a PB&J lunch with fresh boysenberry jam to my boyfriend.
Boysenberry for the boyfriend.
He wasn't in the station, so I waited. I witnessed the crime from the glass-walled station. And before I knew what I was doing, I found myself running towards the scene. Okay, so this is an extra bit of detail that we didn't have before, all this stuff over here on the edge. But the door was locked. I couldn't open it. Oh my, this is quite a trip. That's when why I had to go through the visitors' parking in B Block.
That's quite a detour.
It probably took me at least 5 minutes to get to the scene of the crime.
5 minutes?
Well, that certainly changes a lot.
This changes things considerably.
But it was that woman over there in the defendant's chair who stabbed him. I know it. I have photographic evidence. I swear it. I swear it on my finest plastic spork.
You have a point. And the spork is a wonderful invention.
Would you like another caviar lunch?
Absolutely.
Uh-oh. Mr. Wright, you have to do something. Do I have any evidence to stop this? Well, let's raise an objection and see. 5 minutes between the witnessing of the murder and the arrest. Think about it. You can make pasta in that amount of time. If you like it al dente. Tender but firm? I've got lunchboxes that tie pasta into knots, rookie. A 5-minute blank. Isn't that strange? Strange. If you were a criminal, what would you do with 5 minutes, Your Honor?
Well, I guess I'd flee the scene. Hey! Don't get the wrong idea. I didn't kill anyone.
But you have the instincts of a killer. You would run, but this time was different. Miss Skye dawdled at the scene of the crime. She even had her picture taken. No true criminal would act this way. It's inconceivable.
Yarg! Well then, it seems we've come to the end of this testimony. The witness has a grudge against the defendant and a blank in her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, is the next witness ready to go?
Unfortunately, I appear to have overestimated this witness on account of her professional history. We did it! We screwed that can shut, Mr. Wright! That was too close. Indeed.
I'm afraid that the Kaffa Queen has been dethroned. And with that, court is adjourned.
Okay. Mr. Edgeworth, you ordered the squid wheels, right? We're not playing your squid game. That's the one she tried to foist off on me. I prefer not to take the defense team's leftovers. Anything else to say? I might be able to save you. I have decisive evidence.
Oh? Well, what was that?
Is this another one of her trick lunchboxes?
My apologies, but we have no further questions to ask of you, Miss Starr.
Ah. Is this your jumbo lunchbox? We can hear it sparkling there.
Woohoo! A triple-decker! Out of deference to the witness's determination, I'll allow one more testimony. Let's hear about this decisive evidence.
Okay. Like the land motto says, you won't be disappointed. What's she gonna pull out of her lunchbox this time? Decisive evidence. I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now, to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? 2 types of blood were found on this shoe. One was, of course, the victim's, and the other blood type matched that of the defendant, Miss Lana Skye. This shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence.
What? There is blood found on that shoe?
Try Lunchland for all your lunch and decisive evidence needs. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Why is this the first time I've heard of this evidence? Simple. As I've already said, I don't trust you with evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. That's why I took the liberty of investigating this myself. And you had blood tests performed? Didn't I mention? I have 3 boyfriends in forensics. In any case, Your Honor, I can't accept this as evidence. What? You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. In other words, the shoe is illegal evidence, at least for the time being. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. Edgeworth sure is celebrating. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. Don't forget, I used to be a detective. As I mentioned previously, this shoe has already been tested by a member of the forensics department. As you can see, it was approved by the police department as of today. Even the general public can produce official evidence, Mr. Edgeworth.
No.
Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. Edgeworth is looking pretty sullen. Well, that was quite a quick turnaround there. You could at least study some evidence law. Really? I'm curious to know what rule number 2 is.
The prosecution's complaints notwithstanding, it appears that this evidence satisfies the first rule of evidence law. However, it seems you have yet another count against you, witness.
Anything to ensure that the guilty are properly judged. Victim's shoe added to the court record. White enamel shoe bears traces of blood from Goodman and Lana Skye.
Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness.
Alright. I kind of want to see the shoe. Since we can probably look at the bottom of it with our brand spanking new examination mode here. Ah, there's blood here too! On the sole of the shoe. It's got to be the victim's. He must have stepped in a puddle of his own blood. All this blood. It's horrible. This blood might be an important clue. Yeah, I'm kind of curious to know why the victim's blood would be on the bottom of the shoe if Lana stabbed him where she did. That doesn't really make much sense. This blood, it's my sister's, right? It appears so. Lana's right hand was bandaged when I saw her in jail. She must have cut herself at the time of the crime. Poor sis. Yeah, see, I would expect that that would be the victim's instead, like it would bleed out from his heart. So I'm going to present the shoe itself here. Wait, is that not it? Apparently that's not it. Okay. Alright, let me press stuff here. Why did you lie about those 5 minutes? I guess you could say I just wanted people to look at the results. The results? How many times do I have to say this? I saw the chief prosecutor stab the victim before my very own eyes. Compared to that, a 5-minute blank means nothing. Then why didn't you just tell the truth? Don't make me laugh. We're dealing with the most untrustworthy of the vile lot known as prosecutors. Falsified evidence, arranged testimonies, erasing and manipulating evidence. When you fight monsters, you need to use every trick in the book. This when the suspect is admitting she did it. But false testimony is the most despicable crime of all, Miss Starr. Let's just get this over with. Yeah, I don't see how you can honestly say that you despise all that stuff and then do what she just did here. I'm just looking here at some stuff. Yeah, I don't remember that. The reason why I wasn't pressing anymore is because I don't remember pressing that statement and getting that last time I did this, so I'm actually going to look up the solution here, because I'm pretty sure you can go ahead and do this now. Oh, you have to press this one. Okay. I can't let evidence go through without a fight. You ordered the peppered fish guts, right? Some like it hot, Mr. Wright. Some like your client. She's in enough hot water to make a whole vat of soup. Mr. Wright, do you or don't you have a problem with the shoe? A problem? This is critical. Is there a problem with the victim's shoe? Yep, there's a problem. If I'm not imagining things, I'd say there's one critical problem with this evidence. A queer contradiction. That gleam in your eyes. You're still young, rookie. I'd give you a peppered fish gut now. But you couldn't take the heat, could you? Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What is contradictory about the victim's shoe? Show us the problem with this evidence. Okay, let's rotate right here. I didn't know why we couldn't just present that on that statement. I wonder if you noticed there's blood on the bottom of this shoe. Don't mess with me, rookie, or it'll be your blood on the bottom of my shoe. Indeed, there is quite a bit of blood on the bottom of the shoe. It makes sense. The victim was stabbed with a knife. What could possibly be contradictory about blood on the bottom of this shoe? Oh, I'm not actually sure what to do here. Do we present the knife here? I'm guessing your shoe has blood on it too. You just shot yourself in the foot. Alright, that was actually kind of funny. Well, would you like a grinder or a grind from the heel of my boot, Mr. Wright? Man, they are really going in on these terrible dad jokes today. Man, tough crowd. Mr. Wright, let's be scientific about this. Examine the evidence.
As I thought, a waste of time. Well, that was a nice break. Let's return to the testimony, shall we?
Okay. I think we were on the right track. We just need to present something here on that second thing. Okay, so this... We didn't get this wrong, so that tells me that we were on the right track. I hate the fact we have to do this all over again. Okay, so let's see here. It could be the autopsy report. Let me look at the photograph here again. I'm almost tempted to say that it's this, because there's no blood on the ground here. It's all on her coat. I'm going to try presenting this. Aha! The problem lies in the footprint. The footprint? Note that the bottom of the victim's shoe is covered in blood. Then, isn't it strange? Why weren't any bloody footprints found by the scene of the crime? Aha! As you can see, there are no traces of any such footprints at the scene of the crime. That contradicts your claim about the shoe. This picture only shows part of the floor, so there could have been bloody footprints. Then where are they, Mr. Edgeworth? Because we checked the scene and found nothing of the sort.
Order! 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 Well, witness?
What? Huh? Good going, Mr. Wright. But it's true that the lack of a footprint is a contradiction. But then we have to ask why there wasn't a footprint.
Oh. That's true. There has to be a reason why there wasn't a footprint.
Think, Mr. Wright, think. Hey, I don't know why it's not there. I'm just good at finding contradictions. That kind of sums up this whole game. What? Uh-oh. I see. Now I get it. Get what? Our witness is more devious than I gave her credit for. We were hoodwinked to the very end. But she slipped. There's one vital hint to the truth in her testimony.
Well, what are you talking about?
Think back to when she told us about apprehending the suspect. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. Oh, she's beautiful, but she's deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rawr! I thought that was a strange thing for the normally cool-headed chief to do. No kidding. Now, witness, allow me to ask a very simple question. This oil drum, was it empty? Oh, I think I see what he's getting at. Oh, that, I'm not sure I like your attitude, Mr. Edgeworth. Though apparently you're not the slowest conveyor belt in Lunchbox Factory.
Witness! Well, was the oil drum empty?
The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water. Yeah, so it could have erased that footprint. Well, water? What does that mean? Still don't get it, Mr. Wright? Do you want to know the reason she knocked it over? The real reason?
Aha! You don't mean...
Yes. The suspect knocked over that oil drum for one reason and one reason alone. To erase the bloodstains that would become evidence against her.
Warg? That ties things up quite nicely. The bloodstains left on the victim's shoes tie quite clearly to this murder. Then after the deed was done, she knocked over the oil drum to erase the telltale signs.
Why, that's a prosecutor's specialty, erasing evidence. That reminds me, Miss Sky's right hand was hurt. Didn't she say she'd cut herself when she stabbed him? She did say that. So that's when my sister's blood got on the shoe?
Well, I see no reason to prolong this trial.
But Mr. Wright, do something, please. What? What can I do? Your sister has confessed to the crime, and she tried to conceal it. But... enough. There is no need for further debate. The verdict, Your Honor.
Very well.
But Angel Starr is on the prosecution's side. She could have been lying about the water.
This court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Sky. Hold it!
Little girl, what did you just say? Huh? The me? Did you say that I, Angel Starr, was on the prosecution's side? Yeah, I figured she might take some issue with that. That's definitely not something that she would readily admit. Well, yeah, you are. You're saying my sister hid evidence by erasing the bloody footprints. Well, I thought you had your fill, but here you are, demanding a second helping. Another lunchbox. A lunchbox called evidence.
Wait! Witness, don't tell me you have something else.
The time for deliberations is past. Any further comments and you will be held in contempt of court. Your threats don't scare the cough-up queen. Look at this. Another photograph.
A photograph?
I had it just in case anyone had the gall to suggest that the white shoe didn't belong to the victim. That's not exactly what we said.
I see no room for error in this evidence.
Mr. Wright, wait! Look at the asphalt in this photo. Hey, it's clearly wet! Yeah, you're right.
Erasing the last trace of doubt from the court's mind. Immediately after the murder, the crime scene was washed with water.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I guess I couldn't help after all. It's not your fault. I knew I couldn't win this case from the beginning. And it seems this is what your sister wanted anyway. I'm sorry, Mia. Right. Wet or not, don't be so quick to throw in the towel. Get yourself up off the asphalt. Take another good look. Don't give up, not till the bitter end. This is the last piece of evidence.
Very well. This time I'd like to declare a verdict for good.
Your Honor, wait.
What is it with you people? Can't I hand down my verdicts in peace anymore? Whatever it is, can it wait?
No, it can't. Then it will be too late. Look at this photograph, the last one submitted. This trial isn't over until we give each piece of evidence proper consideration. So, Wright, are you saying there's a problem with this latest piece of evidence? Yeah. I'll think later. Yeah, there is a problem. Right or wrong, I've got to go ahead with this.
I suppose since we've come this far, we should give every claim a fair shake. Very well, Mr. Wright. Show the court the problem in this photograph.
Well, I see something stuffed in the, tailpipe here. I don't know if that's what it is, but we'll go with it. The problem in this photograph is here. What's this? There's something poking out of the car's muffler. Wait, muffler?
Wait just a moment, Mr. Edgeworth.
Your Honor?
You just said muffler. However, I see no trace of a muffler or scarf of any kind in this photograph.
A muffler is also a part of a car or motorcycle, Your Honor. Just think of it as
part of the exhaust system. A pipe. I see. And I see. What's that suspicious-looking cloth sticking out of the car's muffler?
So what if there is something sticking out of the muffler? What does that have to do with this case? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Sorry, Miss Starr, but it's not going to be that easy. In fact, you've already told us why this is important to the case. You said as much in your testimony. What? Yeah, you mentioned this muffler thing earlier. Let's hear what Mr. Wright...
Or let's hear what Mr. Wright has on his mind. Tell us why you think this piece of cloth in the muffler is related to this case.
That's pretty easy. It's this. Miss Starr, recall your testimony for the court. Ah, yes. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. Muffler.
Arg! Yarg!
Could it be that the muffler you heard mentioned was actually this exhaust pipe? If so, that means this piece of cloth is vital evidence.
Oh. Warg! Well, it seems we will have to suspend the proceedings. Suspend? I find myself wondering about that piece of cloth. If we leave any question unanswered here, we do a disservice to the law. Have the car at the crime scene inspected at once, and bring me that cloth. The verdict will wait until after we've seen all the evidence. Agreed?
I suppose so. Whew, that was close. But we made it, at least for now.
This court will adjourn for a 30-minute recess. It's lunchtime, after all.
I don't know if I want to hear about lunchtime after everything we just went through. He's still hungry? To be continued. So yeah, one thing that's interesting about this case, and I want to say many of the cases onward from here in future games, is that the trials now have two parts, and you'll see them referred to as trial former and trial latter. So I'm going to save here, and now we're going to go into trial latter next time. So we're going to go ahead and stop here for the time being, but next time we will pick up the trial and see what Edgeworth has in store for us next. So thanks so much for watching, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed yourselves today, and I will catch you next time. So take care and see you then.